I'm going to tell you about the night my landlord crossed a line I didn't even know existed. The night that turned my life upside down and made me question everything I thought I knew about boundaries, desire, and the thin line between both. My name is Jordan Blake. I'm 28 years old. I work nights as a bartender at a queer bar called The Velvet, and I'm trying to make it as a writer, which is a fancy way of saying I'm broke and living in the cheapest apartment I could find in the city. The apartment is in an old building in a neighborhood that's gentrifying but hasn't quite gotten there yet. 8 units total. Hardwood floors that creak, radiators that clang, windows that stick. But it has character, and the rent is somehow still affordable, which in this city is basically a miracle. My landlord is Elena Navarro, 42 years old, owns the whole building, inherited it from her grandmother. She lives in the penthouse unit on the top floor. I see her around sometimes. In the hallway, fixing things. She's always fixing things. She's one of those women who wears flannel shirts and work boots and looks like she could build you a house with her bare hands. Dark hair with silver starting to thread through it. Sharp features. Intense brown eyes that seem to see right through you. The kind of handsome that makes you nervous. I'd been living there for 6 months. We had a polite but distant relationship. I paid my rent on time. She kept the building maintained. We'd exchange pleasantries in the hallway. That was it. Or so I thought. 3 weeks ago, I met someone. Her name was Vanessa. We matched on a dating app. She was cute, funny, worked in marketing. We'd been on 2 dates and they'd gone well enough that I invited her over for a third. I was excited. I hadn't dated anyone seriously since my ex, and that relationship had been a nightmare. 3 years of manipulation and control and walking on eggshells. I'd finally ended it 8 months ago, and I was just starting to feel like myself again. Ready to put myself out there. Vanessa was supposed to come over on a Friday night. I was working the early shift at the bar, getting off at 8. She was coming at 9. I wanted to be home before her, have time to clean up, maybe light a candle or something. But I also knew the building's front door was tricky. The buzzer system was old and half the buttons didn't work, including mine. So I did what I'd seen other people in the building do. I hid a spare key outside. There was a plant in the hallway on my floor, this big fern in a ceramic pot. I tucked the key under the pot in the back where you couldn't see it unless you knew to look. I texted Vanessa. Front door might be unlocked, but if not, there's a key under the plant pot on the 3rd floor, the big fern. Let yourself into 3B. She sent back a thumbs-up emoji. I thought I was being clever, practical. I didn't think anyone would notice or care. I was wrong. That Friday, my shift at the bar was busy. We had a drag show and the place was packed. I didn't get out until 8:30, half an hour later than planned. I rushed home, slightly sweaty, definitely not as put together as I'd wanted to be. I climbed the 3 flights of stairs to my apartment, keys already in hand, mentally cataloging what I needed to do. Quick shower, change clothes, hide the pile of laundry on the chair. Maybe order Thai food. I unlocked my door and pushed it open. The apartment was dark. I reached for the light switch. Then I saw her. Elena was sitting on my couch. In the dark. Just sitting there, completely still, like she'd been waiting. I screamed. Actually screamed. Jumped back against the doorframe, heart exploding in my chest. What the fuck? I gasped. Elena didn't move. She was holding something in her hand. As my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I realized it was a key. My spare key. We need to talk about building security, she said. Her voice was cold, flat. But I could see her hands. They were shaking. I fumbled for the light switch, flooded the room with brightness. Elena blinked against it but didn't look away from me. You can't just be in my apartment, I said, my voice rising. You can't just let yourself in. That's illegal. I stopped. Because I noticed something else. The light in my kitchen was on. There was a wine glass on my counter. Half full. She hadn't just let herself in. She'd been here for a while, waiting for me. How long have you been here? I asked. Long enough, Elena said, standing up. Long enough to realize that anyone could have found this key. She held it up. Anyone could have walked into your apartment. Do you understand how dangerous that is? So you decided to demonstrate by doing exactly that? I'm the building owner. I have a responsibility to ensure tenant safety. By invading my privacy? Elena's jaw tightened. Something flickered in her eyes. Anger. Or maybe something else. Who's coming over tonight, Jordan? The question caught me off guard. Excuse me? You hid this key for someone. Who? That's none of your business. Everything that happens in this building is my business. I stared at her. We were standing maybe 6 feet apart. The air between us felt electric. Dangerous. You need to leave, I said. Who is she? Elena's voice had changed. The coldness was cracking. There was something raw underneath, something desperate. Get out of my apartment, I said. I can't. What? I can't watch you bring another woman here. The words hung in the air between us. Elena looked as shocked as I felt that she'd said them out loud. What? I repeated. Elena put the key down on my coffee table, ran her hands through her hair. She looked wrecked suddenly. Undone. I know I don't have the right, she said. I know this is completely inappropriate. I know I'm your landlord and you're my tenant, and this is the definition of abuse of power. But Jordan, I can't keep watching you come and go. I can't keep pretending I don't notice every time you leave, every time you come home, who you bring back with you. Are you serious right now? I've tried to stop. I've tried to ignore it. But you're in my building. You're right below me. I hear you walking around. I hear your music. I hear your life happening, and This is insane, I interrupted. This is actually insane. You've been spying on me? Not spying. Just aware. You've been in my apartment before, haven't I? All those times you said you needed to fix something. The radiator that was working fine. The window that didn't actually stick. You were just making excuses. Elena didn't deny it. I felt like I should be terrified, or disgusted, or furious. And I was furious. But underneath the anger was something else. Something I didn't want to examine too closely. You need to leave, I said again. Right now, before I call the police. You won't. How do you know? Because you're still standing there. We stared at each other. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Elena took a step toward me. Don't, I said. She took another step. I mean it. Tell me you don't feel this, Elena said. Tell me I'm imagining the way you look at me in the hallway, the way you find excuses to be outside when you know I'll be working on the building. Tell me it's all in my head and I'll leave right now. I'll never speak to you outside of landlord business again. I opened my mouth, closed it. Because the horrible truth was, I couldn't tell her that. I had noticed her. Of course I'd noticed her. She was impossible not to notice. And yes, sometimes I'd timed my coffee run to coincide with when she was fixing the front steps. Sometimes I'd left my door open when I heard her in the hallway. But I'd told myself it didn't mean anything. She was my landlord. It was inappropriate. I was just lonely. Just noticing an attractive woman. It wasn't real. Except she was standing in my apartment, trembling, having just admitted she'd been obsessed with me for months. And I wasn't calling the police. I wasn't running. I was standing there, frozen, heart racing, for reasons that had nothing to do with fear. This is wrong, I said weakly. I know. You broke into my apartment. I know. You've been stalking me. Elena flinched at the word but didn't deny it. I know. I know it's wrong. I know I'm fucked up. I know everything about this is toxic and inappropriate and I should be ashamed. And I am ashamed. But Jordan, I haven't felt anything in years. Not since my divorce. Not since I retired. I've been going through the motions, existing. And then you moved in and suddenly I was awake again. Suddenly I cared about something. Someone. That's not love, I said. That's obsession. Maybe. Probably. I don't know the difference anymore. She was close now. Close enough that I could smell her. Soap and sawdust and something else. Something that made my head spin. My phone buzzed. Vanessa. Probably here. Probably looking for the key that was now sitting on my coffee table. Your date is here, Elena said bitterly. Yeah, you should go. Let her in. Yeah. Neither of us moved. Then I did something I can't explain, something I still can't fully justify. I closed the distance between us and kissed her. Hard, desperate, angry. My hands fisted in her shirt, pulling her against me. She made a sound, surprise or relief, and kissed me back just as desperately. We stumbled backward. She hit the wall. I pressed against her, 6 months of denied tension exploding all at once. Then my buzzer rang. Loud, insistent. Vanessa downstairs wondering where I was. We broke apart, both breathing hard. I stepped back. Elena stayed against the wall, looking stunned. "Fuck," I whispered. "Jordan. Don't. Just don't." I grabbed my keys, went to the door, stopped with my hand on the knob. When I come back, I said without turning around, "You need to be gone." I went downstairs, let Vanessa in, made an excuse about feeling sick, food poisoning. She was disappointed but understanding. We rescheduled for next week. I walked her back outside and watched her get in an Uber. Then I went back upstairs. Elena was gone. The apartment was empty. The spare key was still on the coffee table, but there was a note under it. "I'm sorry, I crossed a line. Multiple lines. I'll have my lawyer draw up an early lease termination. No penalty. You should move somewhere safer, somewhere away from me." Below that, in shakier handwriting, I meant what I said, about all of it. I sat down on my couch, put my head in my hands, tried to process what had just happened. My landlord had stalked me, broken into my apartment, confessed obsessive feelings, and I'd kissed her. Not in self-defense. Not by accident. I'd kissed her because somewhere in my gut I'd wanted to. What the fuck was wrong with me? I'd just gotten out of a toxic relationship. I knew what red flags looked like. Control, possessiveness, boundary violations. This had all of them. This was every warning sign wrapped up in one extremely attractive package. I should take the lease termination, move out, block her number, maybe file a police report. Instead, I sat there holding her note and replaying the kiss in my head. The weekend was torture. I barely left my apartment. I heard Elena moving around upstairs and my entire body went on alert. I wanted to go up there. I wanted to scream at her. I wanted to kiss her again. I wanted to never see her again. I was a mess. Monday morning, there was an envelope slid under my door. Official letterhead from a property management company. Lease termination agreement. No penalty. 30 days notice instead of the standard 60. A generous recommendation letter for future landlords. Professional, courteous, completely impersonal. I stared at it for an hour. Then I went upstairs and knocked on Elena's door. She opened it looking like she hadn't slept in days. We stared at each other. "I'm moving out," I said. Elena nodded. Didn't look surprised. "But not because you want me to," I continued. "Then why?" "Because if I stay here, with you having this power over me, whatever this is will be fucked up from the start. And I don't want it to be fucked up." Elena blinked. "There." I said what I meant. "Whatever this is?" Elena repeated carefully. "Don't make me say it. I need you to say it." I took a breath. "I'm attracted to you. I have been for a while. But you scare the hell out of me. What you did was not okay. The stalking, the invasion of privacy, all of it. That's not cute. That's not romantic. That's concerning." "I know. And I just got out of a relationship where I was controlled and manipulated, and I swore I'd never let myself be in that position again. So you and me? That can't happen. Not like this. Not with this power dynamic." Elena leaned against her doorframe, arms crossed, looking at me with those intense eyes. "What if I sold the building?" "What?" "The building. What if I sold it? Removed myself from the landlord position entirely? That's crazy. This is your inheritance. Your home. I'm in my 40s and I've spent the last 5 years hiding in this building, playing property manager like it's a personality. I retired from architecture because I burned out. I got divorced because I was living a lie. I've been existing, not living. Until you moved in and reminded me what it felt like to want something." Elena took a breath. "You're right that what I did was wrong. Unforgivable, probably. But Jordan, I can't watch you walk away without trying. So I'll sell the building. You move out, remove the power imbalance, and then we try this properly. Or I sell the building and you disappear from my life and I learn to live with that. You can't sell your home because of me. Watch me. That's insane. Elena smiled, sad and a little broken. Yeah, it probably is. I moved out 2 weeks later. Found a studio apartment across town. Decent place, more expensive, farther from work, but mine. Elena didn't sell the building, but she did hire a property management company to handle the day-to-day operations, removed herself from landlord duties, kept her penthouse but made it clear she was no longer involved in tenant relations. We didn't speak for 2 months. I blocked her number, avoided that neighborhood, threw myself into writing and work and pretending I wasn't thinking about her. Then one night, she walked into the Velvet. I was behind the bar. It was a slow Tuesday. I looked up and there she was, sitting at the end of the bar, just sitting there, waiting. My hands started shaking. The bartender I was training noticed. "You okay?" he asked. "Yeah, just give me a minute." I finished making the drink I was working on, delivered it, wiped down the bar, took a breath, walked over to Elena. "You can't just show up at my work," I said quietly. "I know, I'm sorry. I just wanted to see you." "That's literally stalking behavior." Elena flinched. "You're right, I'll leave." She stood up, started to go. I grabbed her wrist. "Wait." She turned back. Those eyes. God, those eyes. "Are you in therapy?" I asked. Elena nodded. "Twice a week, specialized in control and boundary issues." "For how long?" "Since the night you left. 2 months. That was something. Maybe not enough, but something." "What does your therapist say about this?" I asked, gesturing between us. "About you showing up here? That I'm self-sabotaging and avoiding real work by trying to create shortcuts to resolution." "She's probably right. I know. But I had to see you. I had to know if there was any chance or if I should really let this go." My shift ended in an hour. Elena waited. Didn't order a drink. Just sat there, existing in the same space as me. When I clocked out, we walked outside together. "Coffee?" she asked. "Just coffee. Neutral location. Public place. You can leave whenever you want. I should say no, but you won't. Don't be cocky." Elena smiled. First real smile I'd seen from her. "Is that a yes?" "1 coffee. And you talk. I want to know what you're doing in therapy. I want to know you're actually working on this and not just saying you are." We went to a 24-hour diner, sat across from each other in a booth, ordered terrible coffee and split a piece of pie neither of us ate. Elena talked about her therapy, about recognizing her patterns of control that came from anxiety and fear of abandonment, about how she'd been doing it her whole life, just in different forms, about her marriage to her best friend, how they'd used each other as cover, how comfortable and safe and completely wrong it had been. "I was diagnosed with obsessive tendencies," she admitted. "Not full OCD, but adjacent. The building became my focus object after I retired. I could control it, fix it, perfect it, and then you moved in and became part of the building, part of the thing I needed to control." "That's terrifying," I said honestly. "I know. That's why I'm in therapy. Is it helping?" Elena looked at her coffee. "I still think about you constantly. I still know what bar you work at and what days you're there. I still have to fight the urge to drive by your new place. So the obsessive thoughts are still there. But I'm learning not to act on them. Learning to sit with the discomfort instead of trying to control it. How do I know you won't just do this again? Break into my apartment? Show up uninvited? You don't. You have to trust that I'm working on it. And I know trust is asking a lot, considering how we started." I stirred my coffee, thinking. "I was in a relationship before," I said. "For 3 years. She was controlling, manipulative. By the end, I couldn't make a decision without her approval. Couldn't see friends she didn't like. Had to check in constantly. It took me 6 months after we broke up to even realize how bad it had been." Elena listened, face grave. "When you broke into my apartment, when you said you'd been watching me, every alarm in my head went off. This is the same thing. This is exactly what you escaped from. Don't be stupid enough to walk back into it. You'd be right to think that. But there's a difference between you and my ex. You know it's wrong. You're in therapy. You're doing the work. She never thought she did anything wrong, never apologized, never changed. And I stayed anyway because I didn't think I deserved better. Elena reached across the table, stopped just before touching my hand. "May I?" I nodded. She took my hand. Her palm was rough, calloused, warm. "I can't promise I won't fuck this up," she said. "I probably will. I have decades of bad patterns to unlearn. But Jordan, I promise I'll try. I promise I'll listen when you tell me I'm crossing a line. I promise I'll respect your boundaries even when my brain is screaming at me to do the opposite." That's a lot of promises. I mean all of them. We sat there holding hands in a dingy diner at 1 a.m. It was the worst idea, the biggest red flag, the most obvious mistake. I wanted to try anyway. "Okay," I said, "we can try. But slow. Really slow. And I'm serious about boundaries. You don't get to know where I live yet. You don't get to just show up places. We make plans, we communicate. Like normal people, I can do that. And the second it starts feeling like control instead of care, I'm out. No second chances. Fair." We dated like normal people. Coffee dates, dinner, a movie. Long walks where we talked about everything. She told me about her architecture career, the projects she'd loved, the burnout that had destroyed her passion for it. I told her about my writing, the novel I'd been working on for 3 years, my fear that I wasn't talented enough. She didn't ask where I lived, didn't follow me home, didn't text constantly demanding to know where I was. When her anxiety spiked, she told me instead of acting on it. "I'm having intrusive thoughts about checking your location," she'd text. "Not going to do it, just naming it." "Thank you for telling me," I'd respond. "I'm at work. I'm safe. I'll text you later." It wasn't perfect. She still had controlling impulses. I still had trauma responses that made me pull away. We fought. We misstepped. But we talked through it. 6 months in, she asked if she could see my apartment. "I want to," she said. "But I also don't want to know where you live because I don't trust myself not to drive by when I'm anxious. I appreciate the honesty. So maybe not yet?" Not yet. But soon. We kept going. 8 months, 10 months, a year. I met her ex-husband, lovely gay man who'd become her best friend again after the divorce. He pulled me aside at dinner. "She's different with you," he said. "Lighter. I haven't seen her this happy in decades." "She scares me sometimes," I admitted. "Good. You should keep your guard up a little. She's doing the work, but she's got a long way to go. Just don't let fear stop you from letting her in when she's ready." 13 months after that first coffee, Elena called me. "I need to show you something." "What?" "Just come to the building." The old building. I hadn't been back since I moved out. It felt strange walking up to that familiar door. Elena met me outside. She looked nervous. "I did something," she said, "and I need you to see it before I tell you what it means." She led me inside, up the stairs, to the 3rd floor, to what used to be my apartment. She unlocked the door. The apartment was completely renovated. New floors, new paint, new kitchen, modern and beautiful, and nothing like I remembered. "I'm selling it," Elena said. "The apartment. As a condo. To you. If you want it. I don't understand. I'm converting the building to condos, offering all the current tenants first right of purchase at below market rates. It's been in the works for 6 months. My lawyer just finalized everything. Why? Because I don't want to be anyone's landlord anymore. I want to be an owner among owners. Equal. And because I want you to have the option to come back, not as my tenant, as my equal, as someone who owns her own home and doesn't owe me anything." She handed me a folder. "No pressure. You don't have to decide now. You might not even want it. But Jordan, I'm buying the penthouse from the building corporation. Everyone else is buying their units, and this one is here if you want it." I looked at the papers. The price was shockingly reasonable. Below market. Affordable even on my income. "You've been planning this for 6 months? Since month 4 of us dating?" I needed to do something big. Something that proved I was serious about removing power imbalance. My therapist helped me work through whether it was a grand gesture or a genuine change. We determined it was both. I laughed. Couldn't help it. "You're insane." "Probably. Is it working?" I looked around the apartment. My old apartment, new and beautiful and potentially mine. Not rented. Owned. I walked to the window, looked out at the street I'd known for those 6 months. I'll think about it, I said. Take all the time you need. I bought it, spent my savings on the down payment, got a mortgage, became a homeowner at 29. Elena and I lived in the same building again, but different. I owned my space. She owned hers. We were neighbors, friends, partners. 18 months after we started dating, I gave her a key to my place. You sure? She asked, holding it like it might burn her. I'm sure. I won't abuse this. I know. That's why I'm giving it to you. 2 years in, we were in my apartment. Our apartments, really. We split time between both. I was working on my laptop. She was reading. Do you ever regret it? She asked suddenly. How we started? I looked up. Every day. Elena's face fell. But, I continued, I don't regret where we are. I don't regret choosing to try. I don't regret the work we've done, even though I broke into your apartment and stalked you. Especially because of that. Because you recognized it was wrong. Because you did the work to change. Because you're still doing the work. Elena set down her book, came over to me, knelt beside my chair. I have something for you. She pulled out a key ring. Multiple keys. These are all my keys. Building master. My apartment. My car. My storage unit. Everything. She held them out. I don't want there to be any secrets, any locked doors, any power imbalance. You choose when and where you have access. I'm not giving you these to make you responsible for my security. I'm giving them to show you that I trust you with all of it, and that I don't need to control access anymore. I took the keys. They were heavy. Symbolic. Possessiveness isn't love, I said quietly. I know. My therapist reminds me weekly. So, what is this? This is me learning the difference. Learning that love is giving someone keys and trusting they'll respect your space. That love is saying I want you to have access, but I won't break down if you don't use it. Keep learning, I said. I'll be here. Elena kissed me. Soft. Sure. The kind of kiss that doesn't demand anything. Just offers. 3 years after that night, she broke into my apartment. We were sitting in my place, looking at real estate listings. What if we sold both units? Elena said. Bought something together. Fresh start. Ours. No history of you being my landlord. No history of power imbalance. Just 2 people choosing a home together. I'm still going to insist on being on the deed. I wouldn't have it any other way. 50-50. Equal partners. In everything? Elena took my hand. In everything. We found a place 6 months later. Small house in the suburbs. Garden. Office space for my writing. Workshop space for Elena's return to architecture. She'd started taking small freelance projects. Rediscovering her passion. The day we closed, we stood in the empty living room. First home that's really ours, I said. No ghosts. No weird origin story. Just us. We'll make new weird stories. Elena laughed. Probably, but healthier ones. That night we christened every room. Made love in our house. Our space. Equal and chosen and right. Later, lying in bed in the dark, Elena said, I need to tell you something. Okay, I still have intrusive thoughts sometimes. About checking your location. About needing to know where you are. It's better than it was, but it's still there. I know. You tell me when it happens. I just need you to know it might always be there. This part of me that wants to control things. I can manage it. I am managing it. But I can't promise it'll ever go away completely. I rolled over to face her. I have trauma responses that might never go away completely either. I still flinch sometimes when you make decisions without asking me, even though I know you're not trying to control me. We're both works in progress. Can you live with that? With me being a work in progress? I'm choosing to every day, aren't I? Elena pulled me closer. I don't deserve you. Stop. We deserve each other. Messy and complicated and working through our shit. That's the deal. Best deal I ever made. We fell asleep tangled together in our house. Our home. Built not on a foundation of perfection, but on radical honesty and continuous work and choosing each other every single day. Was our beginning toxic? Absolutely. Unforgivable to some people? Probably. But we didn't pretend it wasn't. Didn't romanticize the stalking or the boundary violations. We looked at it head on, named it for what it was, and did the painful work to transform it. Not everyone could do that. Maybe not everyone should try, but we did. And 4 years later, sitting in our garden, Elena designing a new community center while I edited my finally finished novel, I could honestly say it was worth it. Every difficult conversation, every therapy session, every moment of doubt, every choice to stay and work instead of run. All of it. Because love isn't the grand gesture. It's not the dramatic beginning or the passionate confession. It's the daily choice to show up, to do the work, to respect boundaries, to communicate, to trust. It's Elena texting me I'm having intrusive thoughts instead of acting on them. It's me saying I need space instead of shutting down. It's both of us choosing honesty over comfort, growth over patterns, partnership over control. My landlord broke into my apartment, stalked me, crossed every boundary, and then she did the work to become someone worthy of my trust. That's not romantic. That's not a fairy tale. That's real, messy, complicated, human. And somehow, against all odds and better judgment, it's also love. The kind of love that knows where it came from and works every day to be better than its origin story. The kind worth fighting for, every single day.